What's up, troopers? We're here for another episode of Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Evan. That's Mike over there. What's going on with you, Mike?
Oh, just prepping my battle cards for the tournament tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a battle card that we were talking about that will be a surprising one for the Republic list that you're playing. But I think that we'll get more into that after you've actually had the tournaments, because
we're after Adepticon.
Maybe it'll be after the tournament if you decide that you hate it.
Yes.
Or it'll be after Adepticon if you decide that you actually are going to bring it to Adepticon. So
yes, absolutely.
It's an interesting one. It's off the beaten path in my opinion. But I mean, who am I to say? I am not a Republic player anymore, Mike.
At the end of the day, I mean, it's the time of year where testing things that are off the beaten path is kind of like treading the beaten path, as one might say. We've done that already, and we don't need to tread it too much anymore.
Speaking of which, I played my 20th ranked game in a row with my Grievous Wheel Bike list. I wanted to give a brief update. Part of this is actually going to be incorporated into the correction segment that we're about to do.
Okay.
And actually, before I get into any of that, I should give some shout outs. First of all, shout out to Syndicolo, a random patron that was chosen. Thank you for your support. Also, shout out to our sponsors, that is Legion Terrain and Game Toppers. And we got some links in the YouTube page for those. We very much appreciate the help. But let me get to my 20th game in a row, which was, well, I won't spoil it yet. But there's a league going on at the home store here in Seattle where Isaiah plays, where Izzy plays. I play there, and a whole lot of really good players there. And in my first pod, I was paired up against a couple players, one of whom was the world champion, Isaiah Wallace. And we squared up. He had been selling an idea to me, Mike, that he had created a list that would be the answer to my list. And see, Mike is already being mean about this, Isaiah, and
I love you, buddy, but I don't know.
Yeah, and we're sort of speaking directly to the world champ here. I'll say this is that I understand where he was coming from. I've run through the math a couple of times, and I still think that the result that we had is sort of the expected result in terms of like the idea of, the immovable force versus unstoppable objects, or other way around, whatever. The idea of it is that he was running an Obi-Wan and Yoda list. His theory was that by putting the two of those together, that you would get full order control at a bunch of tokens on round one, which definitely goes with the marksman that he has on the list. That's just sort of a universal truth of Yoda and marksman being a good combo at the beginning of the game. But then, like, going forward from that to use his strategy of Obi-Wan as a defensive shield generator to basically sort of soak up the hits from an alpha strike while also still being able to keep your army together. Yeah. And I was a little bit concerned because we drew he was red player, so he was able to force primary. The only thing I was able to do was get rid of bring them to heal, because I did not want to be trying to get 8 suppression on anybody. And whereas like he would only have to get 4 suppression on one of mine to score 2 points. So I got rid of that, and that was really the only control that I had over the situation. He ended up drawing into Bunker Assault, which, funny enough, even though this was my 20th ranked game with this list, I had not played Bunker Assault yet, as far as I remember. And what? So
are you sure?
Because I don't run into my deck, and I think that I feel like there's a lot fewer instances of bunker assault than there were earlier on for whatever reason. I think that there's just like a lot of decks that don't feel like they want to sit there and fight.
It-
Part of it, go ahead, Mike.
I thought that your stream game was Bunker Assault, but maybe I'm making that up. It felt like a Bunker Assault game.
Which stream game? The one against Empire?
Yeah.
That was Intercepts.
Okay.
So
similar setup, I guess.
Right. Yeah, you're basically deploying from the strip on your side of the board, and the deployment zones are not the exciting part. And some would say in Bunker Assault, there's no exciting part of the objective, and you sort of sit there and shoot each other.
Goes boom.
Yeah, sometimes the bunker goes boom. It's true. And so it ended up being interesting because we basically just sort of jousted each other, which locally in sort of my gaming group, I used to be made fun of as an X-Wing player because I basically only built lists that did jousting, which in X-Wing terminology was about like the idea that you built a list that was meant to basically fly forward and shoot at guys instead of having an ace guy that would, zip and dodge around and try dodge arcs. I would always just like make lists that ran straight forward and shot people.
Sure.
This list can certainly do that. It doesn't prefer to do that, but it again, if you're in an unequal round one shooting situation, then it can be very good at doing that. And the thing that ended up happening is that Isaiah, like he had a marksman on each bunker basically, and then I was deploying fairly middle-ish.
Were these super marksmen or just?
They're regular marksmen with mortars.
Okay.
And over time, even though like both of us had full order control, the thing about clones is that they're not going to be able to surprise people that much with where the rest of their units are going to go once you know where Obi-Wan and Yoda are in that list.
Part of the problem with those two units, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was definitely there was a blob side, and then there was a side that had one marksman on it, and so I put my own blob there, and on the opposite side, I was basically like Sunfac and a Geo and a Stap. You go have fun over there. So that was nice for me that I was able to like line up the whole army, including the G-Man. And I've spoken before about how what I like to do with Grievous is to flank, but against Isaiah's list, it really would have been okay if Grievous flanks, it means that he's like finishing off a single marksman squad that's probably going to get killed by the Stap and Sunfac anyway. Eventually. And so I was just like, okay, I know that Isaiah wants me to do this, but I went forward with Grievous to just be like, okay, we're just going to Jedi Arch this blob and see what happens. Knowing that he was going to die, especially because Yoda had Saber Throw, which is a really quick way to kill General Grievous on the wheel bike, to just go like attack and then attack the next round, and like he's basically doing an automatic 4 damage to Grievous.
I guess he just dies.
Yeah, he just dies. And so yeah, like we started lining up. Obviously, Obi-Wan and Yoda together were able to, pound in a lot of defensive tech and functionally make it so that any target that I wanted to shoot at had surge to block, which made it tougher. And then some of those things were going to get deflected. But what ended up happening is that Yoda was shootable, and so I just like shot at Yoda with everybody. At a certain point, there was like enough backup, like some backup arrived around him to the degree that I like shot at Obi instead. But like I was basically just in the zone of I need to kill Yoda, and sure, I'm going to take some deflections back. A lot of these aren't going to go through. But my theory of this is, again, this is like a very jousty thing, is that if you shoot enough dice, then eventually he's going to roll some blanks, and Kenobi might also roll some blanks. I might get double deflected on certain shots. Like you just have to sort of deal with the situation where Yoda's going to deflect one, and then Obi Guardians, and he's going to deflect one. But that's not so bad against like Aquas and Staps to be taking 1 wound back or even 2 wounds. You can just sort of like deal with it. Um, and so I basically like kept all my vehicles to last like usual and shot at Yoda a bunch. And long story short, by the time Grievous was able to get his round 1 attacks against Yoda, which was like a shot and an overrun, Yoda actually got finished off by that.
I mean, so here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
What upgrades did Yoda and Kenobi have? Was there? I'm assuming Yoda had burst of speed because he's kind of
Yoda
had
neither of them had push. They both had trick, and then Yoda had burst, and I think reflexes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
total of 325 for the pair.
yeah.
Right? Realistically, though, Kenobi and Yoda's combined health pools,
yeah,
not like including Ceresu, like a dodge token rerolling on Kenobi. It's just Bad Batch. Like that's what you're shooting at defensively.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
It's 11 health.
Yeah,
right. That's Republic Bad Batch.
He did have 2 arcs with medics, so like
sure.
whatever got shot at first was going to get 2 extra health.
Sure, and which would be the same case with Bad Batch, right? And
yeah,
so like you're paying like over double.
That is one way to put it.
I just like from a durability perspective, this is the problem with taking multiple Jedi, right?
Yeah. And like Isaiah made fun of me a lot because I spent several minutes basically, over the course of a few activations just going like, is there some kind of a trap I'm walking into by shooting at Yoda? And round 1, there's a minor trap associated with that, which is to say that every time you shoot him, he is creating luminous aims that can then go to like a marksman to really make it a mega crit thing.
If they can be leveraged, it's very good. I definitely have intentionally like put my Yoda in places on turn 1 to be like, please shoot him, thank you.
And I was basically like, I just need to deal with it. Now, what he did with those marksman crits was actually like very devilish, which was to say that he got I think it was either a 5 crit or a 6 crit attack into my super attack from range 4.
Okay.
Which was pretty dirty, and it did 3 wounds to the super attack. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to put an Aqua Droid in front of him. And that's the end of that.
Yep.
So once again, cheating with this list. But I will say that was something that I hadn't run into yet, was the idea of like a lying in wait-ish sort of shot without Pierce, obviously, but being able to just like pile on the crits because you can, and this was after I shot Yoda, so there were like several aims that could be used in this shot to basically turn it into a mega crit shot along with the surge to crit and any natural crits.
It's too bad Echo isn't a reasonable point.
It really is too bad. Because I was like, because as soon as it happened, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of crits. I can't back this up, and I don't have any surge tokens, so I'm just like eating this.
Yeah. There's a world where that goes bad for you.
Yeah, for sure.
It is statistically not average, but
yeah. So that was a neat thing, I'll say. But then, like to make a long story short, so Yoda died before the Jedi Arts stuff happened, and then I had the most productive Jedi Arts that I've ever seen, like in any game of Legion, where it was seriously like there were every shot was hit, crit, and he failed all of his cover rolls, and like 3 of them were open anyway. So by the end of it, it was like, okay, well, I just finished off an arc squad over here, and Padme is half dead, and like Kenobi had 4 wounds on him by the end of that because he was like doing a lot of deflections, and all of this is past his knowledge and defense, like mega dodges, so that he was able to re-roll his Guardian roles with the mega dodges that he had.
Yeah.
But it felt like every role that he did was basically like, I'm gonna turn block blank into block blank.
Sure.
So nothing was happening.
Yeah.
And then like eventually Kenobi got down to 1 wound left. He had to get pretty defensive, and the game just sort of went from there. And so, listen, Isaiah, maybe we're gonna have to have like a talk about your list. I feel, but at the same time, I'm gonna just be honest with myself. If I saw his Worlds list before he took it to Worlds, then I probably would have said, Isaiah, we need to have a talk about your list. But he obviously showed me. This time I feel like it'd be more fair since I've seen it.
Sure. He was also talking smack ahead of this match, so.
Yeah, he was. So like, I feel like it's fair for me to drag him just like a tiny bit. But I mean, he will come up with something devilish, and maybe this is it. But he was basically thinking that if that like that has so much built-in defensive tech when you combine first turn Luminous with second turn knowledge and defense, and the damage splitting with Guardian. But like the way I was thinking about that is that I can just refuse to play his game by just shooting at the Jedi, and that way like he's not splitting the damage with Guardian. I don't know what you think about the theory, Mike.
I'm very much in the ball camp that like paying for one 150 to 200 point character is already pushing my bounds and limits on the rest of Republic list building is just so constrained by its points cost. And that's not to say they're not fair or whatever, but it's just like, it's really hard already to like take a Yoda or a Kenobi or an Anakin and then like build a cohesive list behind it. Once you tack a second expensive character in there, like you're just like taking lean things for the most part that I don't think are super productive in your long-term game plan. Like at the end of the day, like you can spend 350 points on protecting your other 650 points of stuff, but if your other 650 points of stuff like doesn't have anything that really brings the hammer down, what is protecting it worth, right?
Yeah, I mean that was basically my thinking, because he had a couple marksmen, he had an Ahsoka non-super squad of infantry, like he had a naked bark, and then he had a couple like mag arcs, and obviously like many of those can put together attack pools that are decently scary, whether at long range or at range 2 or melee. But I just feel like that there just wasn't enough of it because he was paying so much money for 2 Jedi.
Yeah, I feel like if you could put together like a really firm long range battery that was able to like blow your opponent off the table on round 1 or round 2, like create a sizable attrition advantage.
Yeah,
I think something like that could work. I'm not really sure Republic has access to that right now.
Marksman is like the closest thing.
It's the closest thing. They're like close, but
they're not that close.
I don't think they're that close. Yeah. It's like your opponent can still kind of avoid them if they want to a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And at the end of the day, like if you're doing that, I think you have to be taking like marksman super squads, which with those 2 units, you only have 650 points left to play with. Like,
yeah,
you take 3 marksman super squads and you're like, okay, I guess I have like 300 points left and I only have 5 activations presently.
Ooh.
You know,
it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
So that all that is going to actually pivot into our corrections segment, and I'm going to start off with this, Mike. So while it is true that this was like ranked league play, and that therefore affected my my coveted by literally no one, including myself, ranking as the quote unquote top CIS player in the entire world, But Mike, let me tell you this: that my other league game was against a very nice guy, Jason Knowlton. I did win that game. However, playing him, even deigning to play him, Mike, and I hope people can tell how serious I am when I'm saying this, is that hurt me on my Longshanks rating. And so the very first correction that I need to make is that I am no longer the top CIS player in the world because I won a game.
Longshanks is so dumb. It's like the rating system is so dumb. Like it's like throwing darts in the realm of accurate, okay? But it's just like it's like not good.
But it's like blindfolded darts and they have like rubber tips.
Yeah.
That's sort of, I feel like that's the sort of situation you're in with Longshanks. And so like now Austin Miller, despite the fact that he has not played in the past couple months, overtook me by not playing the game. So Austin reached the same conclusion that the computer and war games reached.
Damn you, Austin!
The best way to win is to not play the game. So here I am. It is cool that now. So now I'm instead of top CIS, I'm going to be bragging about the fact that I'm currently the only person with the unstoppable ranking, which is 20 wins in a row.
Nice.
That is still below JR, the player in California, who's at 27 wins in a row somehow. Nice. But believe me, when Adepticon rolls around, that'll be over. I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'll run into Nikolai again, and he'll just smack me as an actually better CIS player than me, and that'll make for an interesting topic in the show. So that's the first correction, Mike, and obviously the one to blame for that one is me. So the second correction, this one I think we can sort of blame it on both of us, but it was really like more me. This was the one of these that came from a commenter. Please do comment when you see corrections, by the way, so that I can collect these for our correction segment. But this is from H. Balcar. We had a discussion about what is the worst flamethrower in the game when we were talking about the snowtroopers in our unit guide. And I think that we basically concluded that the Snowtrooper Flamethrower was the worst in the game, because I initially said R2, but then you corrected me to say that R2 actually rolls 2 white dice instead of 1 with spray, and then he also surges. But H. Balcar reminded us that the actual worst flamethrower in the game is the Jedi Negotiator, what is it, Force Wispy Air? It's not Force Wave, because that's the consular one. I don't even remember the name of this attack. Hang on, I'm gonna pull it out.
Oh, that's because it really isn't an attack. It's just you. It's like a fake. It's like you throw your hand out and nothing happens.
Force shove. Yeah.
Force
so
shove. There it is.
with all of the terrifying violence that is thought of when you think of the word shove, like the army walked up and they shoved the enemy. You're just like, that's it. That's all they did. But it does have suppressive on top of being, and it does have blast, but unfortunately it also has 1 non-surging white dice. I guess
per enemy mini, which is I just want to be clear. Evan thought R2 is the worst attack in the game. This attack is 33% as good.
Yeah, for being a spray attack, mind you. Which means that like against if you're going up against a single mini unit, then it has exactly the vicious strength of C-3PO counterpart's clumsy kick. Actually, it's worse than that, because that one surges. So never mind.
Jedi, the most formidable.
Yeah. Whoa, that guy really shoved me.
Combatant in the galaxy. Really well trained.
I'm not going to name names, but there was one podcast out of there that was going, I could see it. And I'm just saying, you should feel ashamed of yourselves. So speaking of C-3PO, Mike, this is a correction that was basically for me, as are the rest of these, honestly. But it turns out that with all of our tier lists, not only did we not only did we quote unquote forget Shadow Collective, I did mention that last episode that
We didn't forget Shadow Collective.
they're not a faction. We know about that one, but I did mention that I wanted to wait until weekways were actually fully revealed, just because like when weekways come out, it's adding more than 10% to like the total units available to the faction or something close to that anyway. But there were enough people in comment threads that were requesting it that I'm going to go ahead and do it next episode. It'll be a quick segment because we only have to talk about a few units.
Bad.
Yeah. And it might not go well. Like you might regret your decision, Shadow Collective players, when it came to asking us to do a tier list. So we are going to be correcting that, but there is one non-Shadow Collective unit. It is also one that is exclusively a Battle Force unit, Mike, that we definitely literally forgot to rank. Yep. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
I mean, it's C-3PO.
It's
right?
C-3PO. So, yeah, we covered Logray, but then we did not, and then we covered Chewie, but then we did not cover C-3PO. In retrospect, I feel like I would put him in like a B tier, because like compared to Logray for being a Bright Tree only commander, it feels like he contributes a lot less. I don't know. Like, would you feel differently from that, Mike?
I don't know. He's fine. Like he doesn't like he's got like a Compel is obviously very good.
Yeah, Compel is helpful for sure.
Right. But I feel like a lot of times, I don't know, it sort of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I find myself thinking like in the list building phase, you're like, oh man, Compel is really important to Ewoks, and then you just sort of activate the ones that don't have suppression tokens on them, and like
exactly.
do the thing, and then like the Compel might matter later, but it's like they can't like move and shoot most of the time anyways, so it's kind of like eh.
And because you have a lot of Inspire on the list, is that you can use timing to sort of get around suppression tokens to like a very large degree. And there's also at least one Ewok command card that basically says that your face-up units don't, like, either they take your free recover or that they can't be suppressed or panicked. I forget which one it is, but there's like ways around it is the main thing to say.
Yeah, once you get them into melee, like
Compel, and they're not going to even get suppression tokens anymore.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the storyteller thing, like if you have order, what's weird about Ewoks is that the form of order control that you have is that you have 5 commander tokens in your bag, and that you have like up to 3 copies of improvised orders, so that if you want to go with C-3PO early and hand out a bunch of surge tokens, then you can. That said, like that ability it feels like it's really only good round 2, because round 3 and beyond, I don't want C-3PO to be like up next to my skirmishers. I want him to be hiding in the back. And so like him handing out a bunch of surge tokens when there's nobody that actually has Exemplar in the Ewok faction, it just like doesn't feel all that great from a tempo perspective. And so he's mostly just kind of sitting there as an activation.
Yeah, I mean it's like bolstered, but for units that don't really care.
They care if they're like activating late and they're getting shot like late into the round, but I just feel like that matters so seldom that it doesn't become a big deal.
Like one surge token on like to save an Ewok is just like so much less meaningful than like one surge token to save a clone.
You get 2 surge tokens per unit that you pick, and it's like two per unit, and you get an X number of units like based on what round it is.
Totally. I'm just like evaluating the
like the relative value
of the surge token.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like in the faction, like it's just I don't know. It's like fine, I guess.
Yeah,
but
at the end of the day, he ends up being a extraordinarily cheap activation and
super cheap, right?
Yeah.
He's what?
He's 40 points, I think.
Something like that. Makes R2 look bad, that's for sure.
Accurate. Very accurate. Okay, so what else do I have for corrections? We have the fact that Oh, this is the one that doesn't involve me. I need to apologize for our companion podcast. Please do check out the Fifth Trooper podcast. They're doing some fun stuff. They've been ranking keywords, which is like a fun exercise that we would never have wanted to take on because it would take too damn long. But good for them for going into that. They made an oopsie though, Mike. They were thinking of the old version of the cover keyword where it like automatically took results off. Whereas it actually, it just gives you the new version of cover, either heavy cover or light cover. So
the old version was much better.
Yeah. So anyway, they've been sacked, and it was nice having them, but that's just how it works. Just kidding, guys, but you're nice. And then the last correction I need to make, Mike, is that I need to make a caveat to the diatribe that I went on last week about liquid IV and the bodily functions therein. Shout out to everybody who got through that segment, by the way.
And it was pretty long.
Yeah. It was pretty long. But I should mention that there was a commenter that pointed out that in a humid climate, there is a thing that can happen where because it's like warm, if it's warm and humid, I should say, that your body will make sweat, but that the sweat is not going to evaporate. True. And so you end up like losing fluid extra quickly. Mm-hmm. And it can often be quick enough. And there's some phenomenon that happens where like your sense of thirst doesn't like catch up to your water loss in that situation. And so in that situation, yes, looking at your pee and seeing if it's quite dark, not pale yellow, but like dark yellow, then that may be a sign that you need to drink some water. But guess what? It's like usually it can just be regular water or maybe some Gatorade, which is functionally the same concept of liquid IV to replace electrolytes.
I don't think you need to really caveat this. This feels like one of those things that somebody comes at you with when they're really
like
trying to.
No.
It's like actually. I don't know.
It's a thing. Like, okay. So if you're in like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and you're out playing soccer, and it's like a really hot and humid day, then yeah, you need to be actively hydrating. But you should be doing that anyway. You shouldn't be like waiting until you see that you've dark pee to do that. So, at the end of the day, like while that caveat is true, still shame on this like stupid company Liquid IV for a third reason why that name is dumb, by the way, is because literally anything that is an IV is also liquid because otherwise it wouldn't work. I'm pretty sure you can't give gas or solid things through an intravenous line. Or you can give gas. It ends up being very bad for the patient when you do that. Yet another public service announcement. If there's a product out there called gaseous IV, stay the hell away from that, dude. Anyway, so that's corrections. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with us. We're not perfect, but we will endeavor to shout out. And please, again, Mike does sometimes make mistakes, and I especially want you to point out when he gets something wrong, because for some reason I feel like it's usually me, and I don't know why.
What is going on?
All right. I'm trying to get better with my segues, Mike. Speaking of mistakes, let's talk about the points value of the TSMEU Wheel Bike. Bang. Gotcha. So a few episodes ago, I think it might have been, it was the one when Kyle was on, when it was like right after Mini-Strav, when we were sort of theorizing on how much is this thing going to cost.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you landed?
I don't. Like, I remember what I think I would have said. Like, I'm not surprised it's 90 points.
I landed at it should be 100, but it'll cost 90. I think that's what I said.
I would definitely have to check the tapes.
Yeah. You can write in the correction segment for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns out that because these things are already arriving in some places, like this whole shipping situation is completely whack because the official release date for this thing is still like actually a month away.
Right. This is technically not legal for Adepticon.
It's not right.
Okay. Which is Gonna be very important.
That's probably a good thing.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, it is 90 points, and as a reminder to everybody, we'll put the main card out there just so that everybody can have a reminder of what it says if you're looking at the YouTube. But a big thing to remember is that it is two minis, and that it is special forces, and that through two overrun attacks, because there's overrun two, and then it's cannon. It is capable of 8 dice, 8 attack dice across 3 attacks on when it's a full unit. But then importantly, 10 attack dice when it's a full unit. And then importantly, it's 8 attack dice even when it's only a single mini. If it wants to take the shot and then do 2 overrun attacks, because that is the thing that you're allowed to do, even when you have a single mini. And it is 90. Let's go over the upgrade situation before we talk about like the thing as a whole. The only thing to note as far as the upgrades go is that it does have a pilot slot where, as far as I'm aware, this is the very first pilot upgrade in CIS, because their transport is the snail, which doesn't have a pilot. And then
Doesn't
otherwise,
the AAT have like locked dirt and stuff?
the
Hashtag
AAT. Yeah, you're
correction.
correcting me live. Okay, yeah, the AAT does have a pilot. All of those pilots are AAT battle tank only. So,
Yeah.
correction already done. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
But yeah, this is another pilot slot where this time there's only one choice, which is we finally figured out what the Magna Guard does. And I don't know how you feel, Mike, but what it does is that it gives the overrun attack scatter, and it gives the entire unit immune melee pierce, and that is for 10 points. I don't think that's worth 10 points. What do you think, Mike?
I could see paying for it once, putting it on your lead wheel bike to scatter the main target of your other wheel bikes where you want it to be.
Par instance, if you are running a list that is doing Grievous and one TSMEU, because that way you get the entourage dealio of having the free order that's up all the time. Maybe I could see that, because that way both of those units have immune melee pierce, and you could theoretically have the TSMEU running ahead of Grievous to set up a more worthwhile Grievous attack.
Yeah. You definitely are
I'm
not
still
buying.
not sure, though.
You're definitely not paying for multiple copies of this. I think the
Yeah.
immune melee pierce is the reason you're taking this is scatter.
Yeah,
The immune
I
melee
agree.
pierce is fine, but definitely I'm not sure what I would pay for immune melee pierce on a speeder bike-esque unit. I don't know. 3 points, maybe? I don't
Yeah, not
know.
much, not much.
Um I think it's still a little bit too expensive. I don't know. I'm also surprised that the way that they were talking about it was sort of, I thought the BX commandos would also have a BX pilot. But I guess the BX guy is just the normal
He's
dude.
the standard pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I was hoping for a different weapon, to replace the overrun weapon with something else.
Sure. With a staff or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if it had a melee weapon on the Magna Guard, and then that would actually allow you to make a charge with the wheel bike. That I would pay 10 points for. It might have to be more expensive at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that could have been maybe that's just too good. I don't know. Anywho, that's what it is.
Yeah. So otherwise, we do know the rest of the upgrade slots, which is to say it has training, comms, and gear. And then worth mentioning that the gear slot can be the turbocharger, which is the Grievous in the bike / the TSMEU bike exclusive one that allows the unit to get a once per game boost of speed to range 3 or to speed 3. What do you think about sort of like those upgrades on these when you're running them on mass, Mike?
They're just I mean, I think that upgrade is kind of too expensive for what it is already.
I think it is, yeah.
I
You could
don't
run
think.
recon intel on all of them, but that's expensive.
Yeah, I just it's yeah, it's expensive, and it gets more expensive when you're taking duplicate copies. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I could see maybe if you're like full wheel bike force, maybe putting one on the Magna Guard guy so that you can actually make sure that you hit your scatter.
Uh-huh.
Um, which means that the other guys don't need the turbo because you can scatter them forward. You know, like if you scatter a super squad or something, like it'll make it very easy to hit for everything else. But yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, so like I think that aside from the idea that if you are running one next to Grievous, then you can just give that bad boy LTA because he's going to be getting a face up every round, and then that's just like money in the bank at that point. Um, but otherwise, like I think you're probably going to be leaving these things upgrade lists.
I don't know about that.
Or sorry, I should mention other comms options, right? So like there's also comms jammer,
I think this
and there's
might
hack comms.
I think this might be the best comp jammer unit in the game, but
So
potentially.
that's fair because it's going to want to get in there, and it can use cohesion to make the comms jammer range like really far.
Not to mention it. I think out of all of the units that we have like used as comms jammer eligible things, this might be the hardest to kill.
Flamer spider's pretty hard to kill if it has the defense protocol. Like that's harder to kill than this, right?
Yeah, it takes longer to get in there though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Unless you have
this can
multiple
be.
copies of Overclock.
Yeah, sure.
Oops.
But yikes. But this thing can definitely be jamming very early if you want it to.
Mike,
Yeah.
I just had a moment. Can you can overclock these to do an overrun attack? Is that a thing you can do?
I want to say that overrun specifies within a unit's activation,
Okay, you're probably right.
but I can go check the rulebook real quick.
Doing live corrections here. It probably does because of the way they changed relentless, right?
I'm not 100p on that. But I feel like I have at least read a forum post around this before.
During its activation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Sad. I was about to be so excited, but all right.
Because
So
you were
setting
gonna be able to correct me.
no. I was just like excited about the idea of overclocking these guys and doing free attacks. But
I mean,
sadly, we're only going to have to sort of cheat in normal ways with these things. So Michael,
yeah.
why is 90 points probably too cheap for these?
Well, I don't even know where to start. Like I have
You're
a
a
list.
professional podcaster, Michael.
I know.
You need to figure it out.
I have like a I could write a treatise on this.
Oh, please do.
But I mean, so 90 points is just like really cheap. I it is. Let's start with the offensive profile because I think that is the and maybe we can throw in the defense. I want to compare the wheel bikes to General Grievous, the wheel bike overlord.
Okay,
I think that's a very fair comparison for
surely.
like several reasons.
Yeah.
Um,
Who is 150 base, just as a
150
reminder,
base, and I would like encourage everybody as we're having this conversation to maybe pull up the unit card for the wheel bikes and pull up the unit card for wheel bike Grievous.
We will do that on the YouTube video.
Because I'd like you to subtract command vehicle 2 and like immune melee pierce and entourage. And then
Sure.
kind of we're gonna at that point, like the keywords are kind of the same. right? It's armor 1, mobile.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got climbing vehicle on the other one too, right?
They do, and yet
Yeah.
the regular Timu gets the bonus of being an AI unit also.
Yes, yes, it does, right? So, check mark. Perhaps, I mean, command vehicle 2 is kind of, eh, it's like whatever, right?
I have used, so like, I'm talking about 20 ranked in tournament games. I have used Grievous's command range maybe like 3 times ever.
Sure,
It
sure,
has not mattered for me.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like negligible, I think, at best.
right.
Entourage, unclear how much it's worth, but it's obviously also dependent on you having these 94
Exactly.
Temu
Yeah.
bikes. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, how do we
Another
evaluate
win for
that?
Timu bikes.
Right. So like the only thing that Grievous really has, at least in the keyword department here, um, is immune melee pierce, which if you want to pay 10 points, you can give it to your wheel bikes.
Fair enough. There's like obviously a couple more key differences, which is that so Grievous does have 2 more total health.
Well, hold on.
Grievous.
Let's
Sorry, go ahead.
let's
Go ahead.
let's now go to the offensive portion
The
of
weapons. Yeah.
comparing these unit cards.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Sure.
So Grievous, assuming that you do like the whole kit and caboodle, get all my attacks in.
Uh-huh.
Grievous is rolling 10 dice.
Uh-huh.
Surge to crit,
Yeah.
Pierce 2, right?
Yeah.
They're 5 black, 3 white, and 2 red. Okay, which is roughly equivalent to uh just to like equalize this out, 9 black and 1 white, just for like kind of like averaging it out.
Yeah. Like a
Because
little bit more than an Asajj attack in terms of like average
yeah, it's like a little
stuff.
less good than an arc attack with no
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
surges, right?
Yeah.
Or no aim tokens, because this is obviously surging.
Uh-huh.
Um, Comparing that to our new wheel bike friends, our new wheel bikes throw the equivalent of 10 black, no pierce,
Yeah.
as long as
Because
they hit all their attacks. There's a little bit of caveat here, and that you have to hit both overruns to make that happen,
uh-huh.
which is a restriction. But their maximum offensive output without pierce is actually better than Grievous.
Are you accounting for RAM in that statement though?
I'm not
Yeah.
accounting for RAM for sure.
Yeah.
And so like RAM probably kicks it up like a little bit. But I just want to be
Yeah.
clear on like how close these attack pools are before we like factor in offensive keywords.
Yeah.
Because they're actually very close
Yeah.
for
From a raw dice
being
perspective, they're very
for
close.
being a difference of 60 points. Um so uh Grievous has Pierce. I think he's got Scatter on the overrun, right? Is that a thing he's got?
He does, and then Grievous also he has impact 2 on the overrun and impact 1 on the shot, which means that combined with Surge to hit, crit, and ram, he just obliterates heavy armor.
He's very
Whereas
good in armor.
the Timu bikes, they have impact 1 on each gun, and so but then they don't have Surge to crit, they don't have ram. They don't have impact on the overrun, so a lot less good against armor anyway.
Yeah. So a couple things here when we're talking about the offensive pool.
Uh-huh.
I want to kind of like back up from talking about the comparison to Grievous and just like compare this to other speeder bike units that we have access to.
Sure.
I think outside of swoop bikes, this
It's the
is
easiest comparison because that's the other overrun speeder.
right. This unit is the one that can throw like the most dice. Like just period, right? And I would have to double check these swoop bikes. I think the swoop bikes can also get to 10.
They do 4 on the shot, and then they do 3 on each of 2 overrun attacks. Right. So it's that's the same. And whereas like I think that whereas the swoop bike is going to be 4 white, 3 red, and 2 black.
Yeah.
Or yeah, this is something like that. So
do they surge natively?
They surge to hit natively. So it's a pretty similar overall attack pool. I think.
ish. I think that they're also a very good offensive unit when they hit, when they
Hmm.
connect, right?
Yeah.
Which I think has bore out in that I think before Staps kind of made their resurgence, I think you could say the swoop bikes were probably the best speeder bike in the game. Um, I think. I think that's a fair thing to say.
I would argue for staffs.
No,
It's
sorry,
like
sorry. I
the
said
rich. Oh,
before
yeah.
Staps made their resurgence.
Sure, sure,
I think
sure.
swoop
I
bikes.
think that's fair. I think they were previously the best one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mainly because of their offensive capability, right?
Yeah.
Stack
Exactly.
on top of all of that, this is a 6 red health unit behind armor 1
Hmm.
that when the first unit dies, its attack pool, first model dies, its attack pool goes from 10 to 8.
Right. And it loses less compared to the swoop riders where like their only black dice are in their shot. So like the swoop rider can still do one shot and and two overruns, but like their attack gets
It's like,
progressively a little bit worse.
yeah, yeah.
And they're also much easier to take away because their weight saves, and yeah, they have indie dodge, but you know, their
It's
weight
not
saves with cover one, and yeah,
wheel bikes
no
are
armor. Yeah.
independent dodge for every attack,
Yeah,
or for
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
it's
And then they
just,
have red saves on top of that.
and then
So
they
that's
have
pretty
red
good.
saves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So I think those are the two units that I think that this is like most reasonable to compare it against. I think the wheel bikes kind of like when you compare the wheel bikes and points cost to either of those units,
Hmm.
it seems kind of wildly off base, I guess, to me a little bit. I'm not saying that these should cost what Grievous costs. They're obviously 2 less health, but I think these are real good for 90. Um,
They're really good against anything that's not armor, that's not heavy armor, because like
yes.
they're real bad against that, despite the impact on the
I mean,
shot.
they're I
They can
think you
crit
could
fish a
say
little bit, I guess.
they're fine.
They
Most
can get into a weak point also, I should say. So
most units in the game don't have impact 2 on their
yeah,
guns,
that's fair. That's
even if
fair.
they're a dedicated armor option on infantry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Um, and so I guess like the question is, and then we should add on top of all that is that this has the flexibility of being a vehicle that's in a special forces slot, which might, I mean, special forces like, you know, we've done unit guides on BX, and we've talked about Magnas, how we're sort of like mild fans of BXs and not fans of Magnas really. Like that had been a slot that was pretty underused in CIS, like in the grand scheme of things.
yes, for sure.
And this allows you a lot of flexibility in terms of creating your army, to the point where you can really flex towards vehicle heavy lists, where you can literally have a list where your three B1s or three Geos or whatever are your only troopers. Because you can run Wheel Bike Grievous and then, you know, a couple Aquas, a few Temus, a few Staffs.
You'll
Is that
probably want a super tack in there somewhere,
Oh yeah,
but
super tech. Sorry, I should have
yeah.
mentioned that, of course. But it does add a lot of flexibility. But I'm curious, Mike. When I look at this, I think that I'm basically just gonna, if I was gonna be making my list with these available, I would just find a way to make room for one of them and just like have it pal around with Grievous, because then I don't lose my order control situation. Um, but I mean, what do you think is the biggest utility for these? Like, do you think that just like finding a way to run three of these is going to be a good way to go, and then do whatever else with your list?
No, I think these are going to be a menace, and I think that the best Separatist list, once these released, are going to have 4 of them in Grievous, and it is going to be 32 health, red saves behind armor 1, for what, 180, 360, 510 points.
Yeah, it's 510 for all of those, and then
To
you know if you
to throw 50 dice on the way in.
yeah
And you've got to basically kill like a like more than a stormtrooper unit behind armor to actually eliminate one of these activations. And that's not to even speak of the fact that they could have access to exemplar surges or exemplar dodges or, tactical download or whatever. I think these are freaking crazy.
Freaking crazy,
Freaking
says
crazy.
Mike
I think
Berry.
I think this might be the as far as like units that have been previewed, I think this might be like knowing what General Grievous is at now
Uh-huh.
after kind of having seen him released in the wild. I definitely think that these are going to like instantly be S tier. At this point's cost.
I think, yeah, I very well think that could be right.
I do think to your point, I do think
Yeah,
like every list that has Wheel Bike Grievous is just going to instantly put one in, like just kind of for free. But I think the best ones will be the ones that lean on these guys heavy. I do think these guys are better than Staps by like a pretty clear margin. They're obviously doing something different.
the order control situation is like that does make them quite different.
I'm sorry, you guys can play the game like the rest of us.
No, I don't want to.
And not to mention your order control, you still have what is probably one of the most
Actually, order control's fun, now that I look at it.
offensive and
Yeah,
or
never
like
mind.
points offensively efficient and defensively efficient unit, and you're still gonna have like 5 orders on the table when you play standing orders with these guys, and maybe like an improv or something, like, which is still way better than what everybody else is doing.
You're right. I take it back, honestly, now that I've like looked at it again. I've also been putting together a little bit of a list as we've been chatting, which is to say that right now where I'm at is you have like an up close and personal Grievous with recon intel, and then a super tactical like commander version with Taskmaster, Overclock, Slice Comms, Electro Staff, and optimized task flow, which is direct AI. And then you can run three naked B1s, 4 naked wheel bikes, 2 staffs, neither of which have link targeting array. Mike, very sad for me. But then,
Dear.
and then 1 aqua that does have link targeting array. And so that's 12 activations. Everything except for the B1s matters in that list, I would say, from a like you need to worry about this unit. Even like, the super tech is the one with Electro Staff or Collect Slice Comms, Optimize Task Flow. So like that's a good unit. You're gonna have very close to complete order control on every round. And that doesn't have as much round 1 potential as like what my list has.
Yeah.
But it has an insane round 2 hit.
I think when these wheel into you, it is gonna hurt so bad.
And like part of me actually wonders, is there going to be some weird situation where it's like the rich are too rich, which is to say that once you get your B1s and your super tack out of the way, that by your 5th activation, you're sending something in that is of some consequence to you. I guess what you can do is that you can use your first 2 stab activations to like hide them, and sort of like have them be ready to participate in the game like at the start of round 2. And then you can try to save like Grievous and the TSMEUs for like the end, and you're like basically positioning.
I do think that it's not gonna play like your list at all, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna play like round 1. You're probably setting up on the fringes and where like literally in range bands where your opponent can't shoot you, and then like you're triple moving in on like round 2, and like because triple moving in with these guys is you're still getting 6 die stab attacks, right? Like like reasonably, if you just do the overrun attacks with these guys, it's kind of the stat pool.
Yeah, I mean it is like with less critical as it being an important
Which
thing,
doesn't
but
matter because there's no cover for the most part. Like it
yeah,
matters in
that's true.
armor, right?
That's true.
But like as far as cover goes, like the difference between surge to crit and not surge to crit is like very not meaningful when you're talking about an overrun attack.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know. I think you just got to think of these. We're just gonna run people over, like literally, literally and figuratively. You are just gonna like, you were talking about jousting. Yeah, I think
Yeah, this is
you're just straight over the top.
and then Mike, there is still this fabled battle force that we don't know what it does. But like let's say that it makes it so that you literally don't need to run any B1s or maybe even just one B1. Like one wonders. Granted, probably that battle force hopefully does not allow you to run the generic super attack or Kalani or Aqua Droids, and so maybe in that circumstance it would be a little bit limiting. But if it lets you run multiple staps or even more, or if it gives you like a special version of the wheel bike that's even better than this, yeah, I have no idea. Like
Yeah.
that seems like maybe the most potentially busted battle force out of anything that has like existed so far. We'll have to see.
CIS just keep getting richer, man. I don't
Yeah,
know.
sort of.
The way that I'm like generally feeling about the wheel bikes is like when the Aqua Droids originally came out, I was like, this is not a question of like if this gets nerfed. It's a question of when this gets nerfed.
Yeah, and you can
And
check the tape. Like we said that as soon as
and
these were announced.
and I feel like that about this, but more. Uh, um, like
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I don't think defensively they're quite as crazy as the Aqua
no,
Droids.
yeah, definitely not.
They're definitely much more killable, but Aqua Droids also aren't. Speed 2, move 3 times while attacking twice. Yeah, I don't know.
This list is also going to be able to, in its last 5 activations, it's going to be able to dump. If you'd have to run recon intels for this, but you would be able to dump 5 activations into an enemy base and literally like cover it to the point where your opponent can't actually get any more guys next to it using cohesion to blow it up in round 1. Like that would be an actual tactic that this list could do. It's pretty wild, and I think it's going to be. I think it'll end up. It's not as undercosted as Aquas were, I think, but I think it's going to end up at 100 points. Like Aquas went up 15, and we were still like it's too cheap, or it went up 13.
Okay, so you're suggesting that like when Aquas finally get to where they're supposed to be,
yeah, which is
wherever that is,
18 above their
wherever
original
that
cost,
is,
probably, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Because if these were 108, that would be too much for me.
I don't know, man. I don't think again. I think if you take one of these, like I think some lists that are running General Grievous are just gonna take Grievous out and put these in, and it will be like fairly the same. I don't
I
think
don't know, man. Pierce and Ram is a lot with Grievous.
it's very good. It's very good, but also so is 60 points, right? Like that is not nothing. That is netting you back like your activation and like a bunch of other things.
That's true.
I don't think every list is going to want that, but I do think that this is enough to it is close enough to Grievous that I don't think like 110 is unreasonable. Are you telling me that if I were to look at this in a vacuum and like all things aside and you like compared these two units just together and you told me that the wheel bikes were 40 points cheaper than Grievous, I would be like, that might not even be close enough. Like realistically, they do a lot of the same things, like how much is being better into armor worth? Is it in I would say like, is that worth 40 points? Is it worth 30 points? Is it worth 60? It's definitely not worth 60. But like that's the main sticking point here is that Grievous is a little bit more durable and he's better into armor, right? Like those are the
Yeah.
two things. The command cards are like kind of, you generally only play train in your Jedi arts for the most part. That is like a meaningful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else about his command card suite is like totally replaceable.
Yeah.
Um,
Most of the rest of his command cards exist to give orders to other vehicles,
yeah.
which you could do with pretty much anything. So yeah, I think these are really good. I'm going to be curious about the sort of list that people come up with. There's all sorts of combinations that one could think of, and even though it's true that you can't cheat by doing overrun attacks on an overclock, but there's plenty of other shenanigans, such as being able to give reinforce to 3 of them with Kalani. Seems like it's a pretty good thing to be able to do. Had you even thought of that, Mike?
I mean, they have AI. I haven't like sat down and considered
Yeah,
everything.
there's a lot of stuff.
There's just like they've got all the AI goodies, right? So they
Yeah.
benefit from all the things. Yeah.
And with these guys, if you're doing a tactical download on round 2, then you're using all of those tokens. Like when you do it on round 1, you're often like not using the dodge tokens because you may not want to immobilize your aquadroids or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, like you're just going to get 8 free tokens, and it's going to make these attacks even better. It's going to make them that much harder to kill.
Yeah.
Because like when you get into the zone of being able to have a bunch of dodges that you can pile on top of armor 1, like you can just like shrug off entire attacks sometimes.
Yeah. No, I mean it's gonna be interesting to see how that ends up playing.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I don't want to say concerned about the most is like I don't know why you would ever take any other special forces option in CIS ever with these guys. Like just from like a points comparison. Like
that reflects more on those other units than it even does this, in my opinion.
I mean that is
you're
fair,
right.
but
You're
like,
right.
but like Vibro Sword BX Commandos are 98. You know,
Ooh.
like Magna Guards without the extra guy are 72.
And you know, if they take 3 wounds, then they may as well not exist anymore. If these guys take 3 wounds, then they lose like 2 out of 10 attack dice.
They you know, yeah. It's just like
2
okay,
out of 10.
Fine, I guess. You know,
you know. Lost of red and white. Buh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they might be one of the. Is it fair to say that out of the multi-model units in the game, this is the unit that probably cares the least about losing models? Other than maybe Cassian.
Yes, I think it does, because like even though something like the Aquadroid, like it feels pretty darn good until the heavy dies.
Sure.
It feels terrible after the heavy dies, but even when this loses literally all except its leader, it still is keeping 80% of its attack dice. And so yeah, like when you think about multi-model units, it does. I think it is the most resilient from an attack dice perspective to losing models.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess when R2 loses 3PO, he doesn't care that much. That's like that's because he wasn't all that great to begin with. So
they also generally go out at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Being able to tank damage like that is extremely good, and that's usually like the Achilles heel of a multi-model unit, is the fact that as it takes damage, its attack gets worse, but not really this time.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, I am willing to be wrong on this, but I feel like my Jedi Master instinct here is probably pretty close.
Probably.
To the
what
point.
I can guarantee is that World Team Championships, which is going to be like probably like the first and biggest like sort of mega tournament that will feature these, because it takes place in early May. There's going to be a lot of CIS lists that have multiple TSMEU bikes in there.
We'll see. Think these are well, not points expensive. They are financially
expensive.
And Like,
how much is it on the Asmodee store? Is this a $70 one?
I don't recall, but I remember looking at it and being like,
I don't want to screw that one up.
I am not sure I want to if 4 activation or 4 wheel bike lists are good, I'm not sure that I want to want to invest in it.
I don't want to live in that world.
I mean, I don't want to live in it because I think they're way too good, but
They are $70. Ooh.
per unit. So,
I mean, like that said, the model is fantastic.
I mean, I'm not really knocking the like quality of what you're getting here, to be clear.
Yeah.
But like, that is $300 after taxes for,
for 4 units.
For 4 units. You can get 3 Battle Force or 3 starter sets with that sort of money.
Mike, I'm gonna do it though. I
mean, I think a lot of people are gonna do it, right?
Yeah, just putting it out there.
But I think this is sort of my issue with the Aquas, though Aquas were like not as big of a deal, is that this unit is obviously gonna get nerfed. And there is a lot of people that are like you that are going to go out there and be like, I'm going to spend $300 on my TSMEU wheel bikes. And 6 months or a year later, they're going to get nerfed.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
And because, the AMG, they're not jerks and they understand that sentiment. But for that reason, like, I think that is a big reason of why they don't nerf things early on in the life cycle of the unit. Is, I think that is the reason why sleeper cells and aqua droids, like that, at least a big reason of why those took a little while to get nerfs. It was weird that the sleeper cells happened first, but whatever. I guess they came out slightly earlier, but
we'll see.
But they don't want to devalue purchases, and so that sort of protects the unit from being nerfed.
It protects the unit. It does not protect your opponents from having a crappy time because they're getting bowled over the table, which I think is the elaboration of that problem, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I am a little bit. I'm not gonna like throw red flags on the field, but I think CIS has been beating everybody up for a while now, and I think
close to par with Rebels, but yeah, they're still doing the best out of anybody technically.
Yeah. And again, I would venture to say that they're not close to par with Rebels when you look at like percentage of like winning lists in like top 8s. It's like not close.
I will say that one stat sheet that I had neglected to put up last time, but I will show it up in the YouTube page now, is that for convention level events where a list needed to go to 5-0 to win. And that this chart is really cool because it measures the number of lists that got to 5-0 compared with faction popularity.
Yeah.
Because I believe Rebels are still more popular than CIS is in the grand scheme of things. That like what you see on this chart is that CIS is like doing way better than everybody else as far as that department goes.
It's extremely disproportionate.
It's like way out there.
Which in my mind is like way more telling than some of the other numbers. Like I think we can cry about like win rates and we're gonna talk more about win rates later in the podcast, I think.
Yeah.
But like I think when you're taking like very generic win rate samples, it's not super meaningful because like not everybody is doing the like best thing. There's like huge skill disparities like across the spectrum. It's really hard to like have those numbers be like an accurate representation of what like high level Legion looks like.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at how many lists are 5-0 in across the thing and in what factions, that is far more representative of like what the picture at the top of the heap looks like. And
yeah, I agree.
And it's just it's not close when you look at those numbers.
Yeah, like if you don't believe, if you're listening to the podcast version, you don't believe us, like head to the YouTube page and look at this chart because this chart tells you. I should correct myself also. CIS actually looks like it is slightly more popular than Rebels are, but what this chart does point out is that even though the real factions, Sorry Shot Collective, are close-ish to each other in terms of popularity. There's two standouts. There's the CIS up there, and then down there at the bottom, way below the curve, is Empire.
Yeah.
Segue time, Mike. We're going to talk about a Patreon list that is from the Galactic Empire. Now, by me saying that, I am going to point out like how this relates to the stats discussion that we've been having like just now and also the last episode. But first, I do want to talk about the list. So this list comes to us from the best piece of Ash in Fangorn, which is a great Discord name, whoever you are. So thank you for submitting this. He submitted a couple Tempest lists, and so like once I get through the first one, I'll sort of go over the second one a little bit as a comparison. But so yeah, this is Tempest Force, which is to say that he has 13 activations. This does include probe droids. He has 4 of them, along with 4 scout troopers. And then he has an academy trained, which is the Courage 3 Imperial officer with command control uplink. He also has a single DLT with an R4 astromech stormtrooper to get some utility out of the required stormtrooper slot in that list. And then he has the fairly standard double ATST with twin laser and link targeting array, as well as a Hammers pilot and Major Marquand. So again, this is 13 activations. And the other list basically forgoes one ATST to get some extra stormtroopers in there instead. A couple of like T-21 super squads instead of an ATST is essentially what it does, but is fairly similar. So what do you think about this, Mike, when it comes to like the theory crafting of probe droids and Tempest, which is not really something that we've talked about yet? Like we've talked about regular Empire list, we've talked about Blizzard Force. I had honestly forgotten that they are allowed to go in Tempest.
Sure.
So
Easy to do.
like what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think for starters, I think that this list is probably pretty good just from out the gate. It's 13 activations. You got a bunch of heavy hitting things on the back end. The scout troopers do a great job skirmishing. The probe droids are gonna be able to like pick up flank points and make your ATSTs probably hit even harder.
Yep.
So I think if I were to make any changes, I think I might take out the DLT and the astromech.
I'm thinking the same thing.
And
so that gives you, that technically actually gives you 33 points left because he has a 4-point buffer in his current list because he's theory crafting.
Sure.
And so the question would be like, what would you do with those 33 points, Mike?
I think I might make 2 probe droids, 2 scouts. Is where I might start. I think, don't get me wrong,
I like that.
I think the probe droids are really good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you like 4 is a lot.
Yeah.
You maintain the same 13 activation count.
That's true.
You might even, because I didn't realize there was an extra 4 points here. You might even be able to keep the astromech at that point. I guess you might only have like 7 points left over. But I think 6 scouts is like a lot better than 4. Just from like
sure.
the first couple scouts generally die.
They're gonna die. Yeah.
You know, so that means that like after your initial salvo, you're probably going to be left with like 1 or 2 scout troopers in this list. And the difference between being left with 1 or 2 scout troopers and the difference like going to 3 to 4
is a very big difference.
Is like huge.
4 versus 2 living scouts is a very big difference.
Yeah. And I think that would, you know, probably put a lot more weight into just like the offensive killing power here. And I don't think you're going to like really miss the 2 probes. I don't think that's like a thing that you have to do, but that would be the first thing that I would look at. And if 6 felt like too much, I would scale it back down to 5 to 3 and kind of like see where you want it. Because I give, you know, when you have 6 scouts, it's also like you have to start going early with them sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And if you only have 2 probe droids to like, you know, pad stuff, you might not get them into places you want. So maybe 5-3 is the sweet spot instead of 6-2, and then you have some like room for upgrades to play around with. That's where I would start.
I agree with all that, and I will mention that, you know, his second list it gets rid of 1 ATST and 1 probe droid, and it puts it tosses in like 2 Super Squad T-21 Stormtroopers, and then it puts a T-21 on the regular Stormtrooper instead of the DLT. I think that like what you're sort of comparing is like Stormtroopers versus ATST. The efficiency may be like kind of a wash, but the ATST obviously goes better with Marquand's commands. But I think that when you think about the potential for what Mike just said, where you can get the Marquand stuff and you can get extra scouts out of it. Like if two T-21 supers and a regular T-21 is 260 points, like altogether, or a little bit above that, which is slightly more than 5 scout squads. And I just think that you're getting more out of just like piling scouts in there compared to the Stormtroopers. And I think that from a gameplay perspective, you're better off having the triple ATST than having a bunch of Stormtrooper supers, especially with the fact that this list does not have compel.
Yeah,
which can mean that your Courage 1 Stormtroopers are very slowed down potentially. Because Tempest does not have access to any form of compel at all.
Yeah.
And that can be pretty tough.
I think the other comment I'd like to make here is that I actually think that cutting the link targeting arrays is very reasonable.
At least one of them, I think.
Well, if we stick with what we've got here, 4 probe droids, you're already getting 12 offensive rerolls on your STs probably already.
If they're activating last.
Yes. Yeah. Which you're probably getting
until they're almost dead, they probably will.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. I think, Marquand has guidance, or not guidance,
he has direct vehicle.
Right? Yeah. So maybe leaving 1 LTA in there just to get the value, if you will, I think is fair, but I would be a little cautious with how many rerolls you're prepping for your STs, because I think you might end up with like observe tokens just dead in the water, which is again I think potentially a reason to cut some probe droids out of the list, because that is what they're going to do the first couple turns.
Probably. That said, if you're rolling 3 white attack dice, having rolled many aqua dice in my time, Mike, I have spent so many aim tokens on 2 white dice like 3 times in a row, and end up with 1 result still. That I think even with all this stuff, you can probably milk it. But again, that's like 5 observe tokens to get 1 extra hit. Like, how worthwhile is that at the end of the day?
Right. It's kind of like, at the end of the 4 probe droids is netting you 12 rerolls, right?
Yeah.
Which is the equivalent of 6 aims. So, assuming you get them on the right targets, which is a lot.
And now, if Precise allowed you to reroll 2 dice per observe token, then we would be talking with this T21.
That would be real
idea.
Silly. That would be so silly.
Yeah.
No, please
don't take that as an idea, AMG.
Please don't.
I regret mentioning it. But yeah, like I honestly like this list a lot. I like Mike's suggestions, and I will say that Empire, even though it's generally been struggling, like this is something that you definitely pointed out to me when we did our tier list, is that I think that probe droids actually are going to be a pretty nice injection of health into the faction in terms of being able to make some lists. Now, those lists will still have a variety problem, in my opinion, because it will still be like the old good stuff, but now there's probe droids in it.
Yeah, that's generally the issue with good new units, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like,
yeah.
What am I? I think the lack of new upgrades that we've seen has contributed to that problem.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And so to sort of tag on to that, I wanted to mention that. So in the last episode, when we were talking about the relative performance of Empire, we were sort of openly wondering about when you consider Empire non-battle forces versus Empire as battle forces, about how different those percentages are. And like tagging onto the Tempest Force discussion, which Mike and I felt pretty confident, or at least I felt confident that it was the second best battle force in Empire. Turns out I was actually slightly wrong, as it turns out. But Ragnar did put the numbers together, so we'll show them up here on the screen. And as a reminder, the overall win rate for Empire was sitting at 45%. Then we separate out the battle forces. Imperial Remnant is at 63%. Wow. Does that surprise you, Mike?
It doesn't surprise me.
Boy, it's good.
I think, it's just,
it's just really good. The Dark Trooper cheating is really good, and it got 20 points cheaper or 20 points cheaper from Gideon, and then each Dark Trooper got like 7 points cheaper or something.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it was already doing good and then it got some bonuses was a big deal. Yeah, it's the best thing you can be doing in Empire by a lot.
Exactly. And then Stormtrooper Battalion is at 48, Tempest is at 46. So those are actually like a little bit better than, but close-ish to the overall battle, like Empire win rate. Both of those are in the zone of being considered as like an average-ish performing battle force. I did think that Tempest would be doing better than Stormtrooper Battalion. I wonder if Pro Droids might like flip that around.
I mean, I think that I would be cautious with the Stormtrooper Battalion percentage here as far as like how many games were actually played.
The N may be pretty low for that one.
Yes, I suspect it's pretty low. Though going back to me complaining about Stormtroopers having surge tokens, I am not super surprised.
Yeah. I think there is potential there, but I still like Remnant a ton more, and obviously that bears out.
Yeah,
Blizzard Force bringing up the rear as far as battle forces go, 37%. I also think that is being played very little, and like, even in comparison to Stormtrooper Battalion, just because it's felt pretty boring, honestly. Yes. Pro Droids will make that a little bit better, and so it'll see a little bit of a resurgence, but yeah, Blizzard Force just feels very vanilla.
Well, and I think one of the things about Blizzard Force is the good thing about Blizzard Force originally was the fact that you could take 4 bikes, right? Like that was like the big selling point for Blizzard. Yeah. That's literally why you played it. Like the command cards were not really it. Bikes are not great, right? Like they're okay, but the major selling point for it is like just not what it used to be.
Overwhelming Mirage was pretty good back in the day, Mike. And also, also the heavy response units were really good back in the day.
That's fair.
And all that's changed.
Yeah. I mean, like, Overwhelming Barrage is still good, I would say. But I don't think anybody playing Blizzard was like, I'm playing Blizzard because of Overwhelming Barrage. It was just like it was just like, I'm playing Blizzard because I get bikes on HRUs, and I also get this other thing for free. Right?
That's basically what it was. And I have Vader, so screw you. Yeah. So it's not that anymore, but it's funny that like my initial thought before like you sort of explained it all out to me was that, well, Pro Droids would probably be best in Blizzard because then they can just like go in there without being attached to anything. But turns out that being attached to Scout Troopers is actually an advantage for Pro Droids.
I think it is. I think it's a pretty significant one
because it gives you command pool flexibility, which is to say that your command pool gets filled with a bunch of special forces and core. That allows you to basically, and those special forces, you can do the ones that you want to go early with, aka the Pro Droids, and then save the scouts for later. It actually ends up being like a big bonus.
And you can immediately swap it around if you need to, right? Like you're like, oh man,
if the scout's about to die,
it's just like this special forces is going first now. It's like no big deal, right? So,
and then so we talked about the battle forces where, except for Blizzard Force, they're all like doing either really well or pretty average. And then Empire Sans battle forces is at 41%.
So I had a lengthy discussion with Ragnar before we pulled these numbers because and Ragnar, I want to apologize. I know that everything I was asking for was very complicated and I'm sorry. But one of the things that he mentioned in this is that the Battle Force numbers and the Empire Sounds Battle Force numbers probably are not taking out mirror matches.
Right.
So
Right.
these
That's
numbers,
a special calculation that he does.
these numbers are probably closer to the middle
to 50%
than
than they
the
actually
Empire than the Empire percentage we're comparing them to, right?
That said, you could probably say, like, how often is Remnant really running up against other Remnant? Like, it probably happens, but
sure. The big thing is Empire not without battle forces versus Empire without battle forces. I think that 41% is with a weighting towards
with
the middle.
mirror and non-battle force matchups, which means it might actually be like 39.
Right. It probably is sub 40.
Oof.
Which, I mean, look, not a surprise. That's literally
what
like
we talked about this,
you know. But unfortunately, with the way that Longshanks data is, I guess compiled in the way like battle forces are like kind of like lumped in sort of in the Longshanks data, you can't really. Ragnar was basically saying that I don't think you can do the calculation that he did on the other stuff without doing like astrophysics, you know. So
I'm sure Ragnar's capable of astrophysics, but we would never ask him to do it for free. No. So
and we very much appreciate everything you did just to bring us these numbers. So, but you know, again, I think very telling. Supports our theories from I guess it was last episode, right?
Yeah. Where we were like, hold the phone on these Empire. Yeah, hold my beer when it comes to these Empire numbers looking bad because it's actually worse than you think. Well, we'll see what Pro Droids can do for him. The one thing that Pro Droids aren't going to do is make Remnant any better, so at least that's something.
Yeah, you know, and I think I also am not really sure. I think Pro Droids are going to be probably really good for like a month and a half. And then there's going to be 4 wheel bikes on the table, and they're going to be killing.
Oh, they're going to get those probe droids, bro.
Multiple probe droids in an activation.
Yeah, you are very right about that.
And all of a sudden, it's going to feel really bad. Because all of these scouts and all of these probe droids, you know what they don't want to see on the other side of the table? 4 to 5 Grievouses.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Pro Droids are like, I'm hiding behind this mountain. You can't get me. Boom. Climbing vehicle. Overrun. Die.
like I don't know, man. Like, sounds like bad news bear cubs for 4 white health units that have little to no defense against overrun.
Yeah. That's pretty tough.
I got nothing. So, I mean, I don't want to also like be like, hey, Empire players, it's going to be okay because you've got probe droids.
It'll be better because you're probe droids.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. But, you know, yeah. Anywho. Hashtag separatists.
Yeah. Nothing to worry about here, folks.
Don't look here. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah. Mike, let's round things up by checking out C3LP, and now that maybe C3LP will throw a little bit of dap to the Shadow Collective players, and we can start thinking of one of those units early. I doubt it. I'm not sure if C3LP is aware that Shadow Collective exists. But yeah, let's see what he has to say about a random unit now, this time.
C3LP has selected the TX-130 Saber class fighter tank.
Ooh, okay, very relevant now.
Yep.
What does it say about the Saber tank?
It says, "Is this a special forces? No, it is not. This is a
you're
tank."
Still being testy,
right?
You jerk. All right, keep going. C3LP.
Has armor. It has high resilience. It is.
Sorry, keep going.
What I think it says speed 2, and then in parentheses says respectable for something with treads. Which is
off to a bad start. C3LP,
which is interesting. The primary weapon is the twin laser turret, which is not correct. In fact, how many How many saber tanks do you think are actually equipped with the twin laser turret? I am
Now,
willing to bet 0%.
um, there's probably a brand new player
Okay.
who thought that like critical seems like a good keyword. And I'm not making fun of this brand new player, but if you're experienced at all in Legion, like nobody's brought that thing since 2.6 happened. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So it gives the Republic real ranged armor presence. I suppose
Yeah,
that's not wrong.
pretty much
Forces your
true.
opponent to answer the question, do you have enough impact? I think maybe in multiples that's true. Um, again, it's talking about developers here. But developers love it because it changes the battlefield shape. Suddenly, open lanes matter. Suddenly, cover matters more. I'm not sure that's true, really, but
No.
I mean, like, not more than any other unit.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Um, on the
Some would say
table,
cover matters less, and that has made the saber tank much better with its beam turret.
for sure.
Yeah.
So on the table, it anchors a flank, projects long range threat, soaks fires that would delete your clones, and occasionally rolls blanks and causes emotional damage.
Yeah, that can happen, but pretty good attack dice, honestly.
Yeah. Common mistakes. Sometimes it gets focus fire, disables, and Republic players end up muttering about variance.
Sure.
Which is
I've seen that happen
is a
for
little
sure.
fair. I've seen it happen several times. Although
Yeah.
I would generally, when I see people arguing about it, I respond with, "That's actually the average."
What is that guy, Michael?
What's up?
You're such a that guy, except I do it too.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest pet peeves is like people being like, "Oh my god, I'm rolling so horribly," or you're rolling so good," and I'm like, man, that's actually the average. like I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Check out relevant article, Why You're Losing Games, Blaming the Dice. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So when diplomacy fails, bring Republic engineering. That's what C3LP has to say.
Don't bring your Republic engineer though,
Yes,
because they're actually not very good.
By not very good, he means don't take them ever.
Yeah.
Unlike the Republic medic, they are bad.
Yeah,
they're very bad.
Funny how the difference of a slot makes all the difference. Some might say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, C3LP got several things wrong. The fact that the hoveringest hover tank in the game, as the talked about the treads, wasn't like a really great observation. But the saber tank's always been a very cool looking vehicle. That's like an obvious one.
Oh, it's super cool.
It looks great in the table.
Yeah.
And
I dare say it might be the most like stunning, maybe stunning is the wrong word, but like presence imposing unit in Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, I mean the AAT definitely also casts a presence.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
I guess the ATST is up there too.
Yeah, because that's very tall. But like I definitely agree that like the big vehicles are the ones that like really catch your eye when you're looking across a bunch of Legion tables. Like you see the big vehicles.
The saber tank is the unit that gets the Warhammer players in the store to come over and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah, well, hey, look at
that. They're like, "What? You're playing Star Wars with tanks? Tell me more."
You're so right. I've literally had Warhammer players like look at my saber tank and go, "Yeah, that looks pretty cool."
Yes. It's like that's what it's got going on.
It could be like a Tau vehicle in 40K, honestly. Like
100%.
the way it looks.
It's kind of like a hammerhead, or yeah.
And so like it's got that going for it, obviously. When 2.6 came around, and it suddenly made the beam turret like very good when it was absolute hot garbage before.
Yeah.
That also added life to this. It's fair to say that like outside of the, I'm sorry you have to hear this, Timbo. Outside of the atrociously unfun to play for or against list that was the Padme Yoda saber like sit there castle crap that I abhorred from a gameplay perspective in all ways. Um, when you take that aside, the saber has never been doing better as far as like a competitive unit in Star Wars Legion.
I mean,
Um,
I don't think that list. I mean, that list was like okay.
ugh,
It
ugh.
was not fun to play against.
I don't think it should have been fun to play as. I'm not like disparaging you, Timbo, but like I I'm a meta chaser guy. That has been established well on this podcast, but I never even once had the temptation to be like, I just want to sit there and stand by Castle with a friggin' saber tank. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but it's doing pretty well now. And then the 212 Battle Force has added another layer to it with the possibility of running a triple saber list,
Yep.
which John Bushman did very well with at what was it, Cherokee? Was the recent
No,
tournament?
Cherokee's this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's not Cherokee. That's happening this weekend. I apologize why I'm blanking out on what that tournament was, but oh no, it was Windy City.
Yep.
Where he did very well with it. Um, so yeah, like Mike, would you? How do you actually? What's your updated opinion on the triple saber list in 212?
I feel like I have not gotten enough reps with or against it to
Yeah,
have like a definitive this is how I feel about it. I think it's got some real weaknesses. And I think that it like kind of is trying to be Tempest without a lot of the advantages.
it does have one particular advantage that Tempest doesn't have, which is that it's it can run real shooters in the trooper slots.
Real shooters, are you saying scout troopers
I'm
aren't real
talking about
shooters?
I'm talking about range shooters as in marksmen that you can when you put together marksmen with sabers, you can definitely have a better alpha strike in 212 than you can in Tempest.
Sure.
And the sabers, if there's dodges around, which is sort of a big if, less so in turn one, but the sabers will soak damage up better than ATSTs will. If there's dodges around. If there's not dodges around, it's actually kind of equal when you compare those two things.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like the 212, the token sharing aspect, at least from what I've seen so far, is kind of a miss. In that like it doesn't haven't really seen it matter that much.
It's prepare positions is where it matters most.
Yeah, 100.
Which is only one round.
Right,
Yeah.
That's sort of what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
a couple dodges round one is like fine, but after that, like you have to kind of be taking like actions to get the tokens, and that doesn't feel great. Uh, and then
They
you're
purposefully left out the units that make their own tokens.
yes, which I fair play.
Probably for the best.
I'm not even sure that's true, but like
Yeah.
it turns out expensive units that have to take actions to share their tokens all of a sudden don't actually get to like have the value of an expensive unit generally, right? So you can't have 6 General Veers in your list or 6 Kalani's, like because then your list is just General Veers or Kalani's,
Right.
right? Like it just
Right.
I don't know. So yeah, I think we'll see. I do think the Saber tank is like definitely much better now. I think it's still a little bit
It's still too
maybe.
expensive.
I'm not like sold it's too expensive, but I do wish that it had some more oomph to it, I guess.
I wish I wish Isla Secure and Plo Koon actually meant something as pilots. Like that makes me sad that, this back in FFG days, but that they went out of their way to give you 2 named pilots, one of whom will actually soon matter in terms of like uniqueness lockouts in terms of Plo Koon. Because it would mean that you can't take him as a unit upgrade or commander or whatever. But like, yeah, you have this, and they just like they don't matter at all, right? Like the getting field commander in Inspire 1 doesn't matter. Getting Agile 2 that you have to tap for is terrible. And like just neither of them are worth it. I feel like named commanders on like all of the vehicles or most of them have been kind of a miss. Like Wedge and Lock Dirt are good.
You still don't
But
see them a lot, I feel
you
like.
still don't even see them very much.
Yeah.
I really wish those named commanders mattered more. And that could easily be done with a with a print and play thing, but yeah, the Saber can't even take Hound and Grizzer, the best named commander out of all of them.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I think the Saber tank is an interesting one because didn't the Saber tank come directly from Battlefront 2? I think that's where it was invented, actually.
I would have to fact check that. I don't want to end up getting like counterstroked here on the corrections panel, so I'm gonna abstain from
you know what's funny about Wikipedia is that you can always like rely on the fact that there are people who have gone like way beyond to figure out the reality of stuff. So this is interesting. It first appeared in the canon in the Star Wars Rebels Imperial Heist video game, which was
I'm not sure I've ever heard of that one. Was that on your tier list?
No, I didn't make it onto the tier list. You know why? Because this is a free online browser game, Mike. I'm just going to say that doesn't count because, yes, it also appeared in Star Wars Battlefront in the first time in a game that anybody ever actually bothered playing.
Was it in Empire? No, Empire War was Civil War.
And actually, I'm correcting myself again. That was the first canon appearance. The first regular appearance was, okay, so this was an actual thing that, by the way, my brother and I did not rank because neither of us played it. But do you remember that there was a PC game, Star Wars: The Clone Wars?
Is that the
2002
like Age of Empires RTS?
It actually was sort of like a third-person vehicle shooter. Where you would, so yeah, I'm looking at a picture of the Saber tank right now, and then so you could either be like Republic or CRS, and you were basically like it was a bunch of wheel tanks and saber tanks and AATs that were running around shooting each other, and it wasn't very good. But that is actually the first place where it popped up.
That sounds interesting.
So there you go.
I guess
it was LucasArts Star Wars games, man. They were just like, if there's a genre, we're gonna make a Star Wars game, and damn you if you want to argue against it. So yeah, Saber Tank's pretty good. It could have a better presence, but good time to mention that it was just re-released, so now people can actually buy it, which was not a thing that could happen before.
Yeah, that's actually like I think we've talked a lot about like some of the new like door gunners and stuff. Like I think the Saber Tank is actually a unit that I might be willing to pay like 5 or 6 points on for something that's juicy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's already pretty expensive. I would be willing to spend the cost of a Techno Force power on it to have it do something cool.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to have Technoforce in the Republic? Ha Oops, sorry. Did I strike a nerve?
Wait, hold up. We haven't talked about Force Push today. Hold the phone.
Oh yeah, sorry. We weren't able to reset the clock. Mike, you have the floor.
Yes, Force Push should be minus 25 points. Thanks. Okay.
Cool.
Bye.
Hey, yeah, that's a great place to land plane, Mike.
Yep.
How do we do that?
Yeah, this has been the Notorious Scoundrels, Season 4, Episode 49. I'm Mike.
I'm Evan. Force Push is too expensive.
Stay fresh. Cheese bags.
Bye.